Change, same thing, accounting policy, change in accounting estimates, error. What is accounting policy? We know straight line method, reducing balance, borrowing costs should be capitalized if we meet the criteria, otherwise we expense it off. Government grant, those accounting policies. So accounting policies are principle, they are basis, they are convention, rules or practices. Accounting policy. Number 2, what is accounting estimate? Example, provision for doubtful debt, useful life, depreciation, all those are estimate. Just now the provision also estimate. Okay, accounting estimate. And error. Error can be omission, misstatement. You omit an entry, a sales invoice, a misstatement, a mathematical mistake. Oversight means you did not see it, okay, you forgot, or misinterpretation of the fact. So these are error. So we have 3 things: accounting policy, change and estimate, error. We're going to start with the first one, accounting policy. So if we have a standard, okay, example IAS 16 PPE. If we have a standard that governs a particular transaction, means if I buy tables and chairs and we have a standard, we must follow the standard. Okay, now if there's a standard regarding a particular transaction, PPE, follow IAS 16. Okay, if a transaction there is no standard, then we have to use judgment. Okay, and the judgment we have to follow in this particular order: 1, 2, and 3. Let's quickly go through this whole paragraph here. When a standard or interpretation of a transaction means or an event, these 3 together, I highlight only one lah. Normally this one TEC. Transaction, event, or condition. There's a transaction, event, or condition. The accounting policy applied to that must be determined by applying the particular standard. When you have a standard or interpretation, that transaction, that event, that condition must apply using the standard. In the absence of the standard, if there's no standard on a particular transaction, event, or condition, director or the company must use judgment. So that judgment, we should follow these 3 arrows here, the sequence. No standard, we follow the first one. The requirement and guideline of IAS standard or interpretation dealing with similar related issue. Example, we have a license. License at the moment we know is intangible asset, IAS 38. So assuming this is very beginning, we have a license, brand, patent, intangible asset. IAS 38 haven't been introduced yet. So no standard, we do not know what to do. So director will have to use judgment. So when we use judgment, we have to follow what kind of judgment? First thing, follow any similar standard. So what is the most similar standard to IAS intangible asset? PPE, right? So we try to look at IAS 16 and apply. So if there is a standard, we look at similar standard. If there is no similar standard, then how? We look at conceptual framework by looking at the definition, the recognition criteria, the measurement. So check, is this an asset? Is this a liability? Is this an equity? We know asset is resources control, past event, future economic benefit. Liability is obligation, present or constructive, legal or constructive, outflow. So this transaction we try to apply. Can it be a crop asset or liability or equity? Follow the definition. Still cannot, then number 3. We look at the pronouncement of other standard setting body that use similar concept framework as to ISB, International Accounting Standard. Meaning, this particular standard no similar, this particular transaction event or condition, TEC, transaction event condition, no standard, look at the similar standard. Try to apply definition, difficult, cannot. Look at other people, other standard setting body. Like Japan, they have their own standard setting body. US, they may have their own. See whether do they have or not. If got, then we follow. Okay. And the standard IAS 8 says if we have standard, we have to apply. No standard, use judgment. Once you use it, the policy, we must apply them consistently. You use straight line means use straight line consistently every year. You use FIFO consistently every year. That is what is required by the standard. Okay. Can I therefore change the accounting policy since the standard asks me to apply them consistently? Can I change? Yeah, straight line to reducing, or I'm not sure reducing FIFO to weighted average. Cannot simply change. So must apply consistently, but if you want to change, can, but two arrow here. Entity is permitted to change only if, first arrow, required by the standard. We apply IAS 16. We have been using this policy, but the standard asks us to change. We have to change. Number two, we are only allowed to change if a change will result in a financial statement become reliable and relevant. R and R. Reliable and relevant information about the effect of the transaction. Okay. So there's a past question. The company wished to change the policy from this to the other because most of their main competitor is using FIFO. I'm using weighted average. So now I want to change to FIFO so that I want to be consistent with my my competitor. Can I do that? No. Okay. So by changing to make it comparable, to be similar, cannot. Okay, because the standard allows both. Okay. But if a change will provide a reliable and more relevant information, then of course we can change. Example, the parent is using weighted average. Parent is using weighted average. And then the subsidiary is using percentile. So I think it will be good when we prepare group financial statement that everyone using percentile. So we change to make it more reliable, more relevant. Then okay. Okay, you don't change because you want to be similar to your competitor. Cannot. Okay, and if change is allowed, then we will change. And what should we do? We apply before that. We look at these two. Do not constitute as change in accounting policy. Adoption and of accounting policy for new type of transaction. All the while you haven't have a example, you haven't got a PPE. All the while you have no PPE. But this year you buy an asset. So is this the first year you apply IAS 16? Yeah. So it's a new transaction buying asset. Therefore, I apply new standard. To me, it's a new standard. So is this considered change accounting policy? No. It's a new type of transaction. It's not considered as change accounting policy. Or adoption of new accounting policy for transaction. It's a new accounting policy, and you adopt them. It's not considered as change in accounting policy. So before we continue, so IAS 8, three things: accounting policy, change in accounting estimates, error. So we focus on policy. Policy is a principle, basis, what else? Convention, okay? And we have to apply the policy. If a transaction, event, or condition, we have a standard, follow. No standard, use judgment. Use similar, uh, apply conceptual framework, the definition, or other standard setting body. Okay, so once you have decided on the accounting policy, we have to apply them consistently. Don't change unless a change because it's required by the standard, or a change will result in a more reliable and more relevant information provided to the user. Okay, and two things do not constitute as change in policy: new transaction or a new policy being adopted. Okay, now that I change due to one of these two reasons, okay, I change. What should I do? I have to apply them retrospectively, or otherwise I apply them prospectively. Apply them retrospectively. If I can't, then prospectively. What do you mean by this? I'll give you example for this particular word. Let's say you are taking this, okay, before about this law. You know, last time internet, when they first introduced, there's no cyber law. No law to govern the misuse of the internet. So internet is at the time when it's booming at the time. So many people use it to commit fraud. Okay, not commit fraud, commit criminal fraud or whatever lah. So committed some fraud here, and there's no law. What happened? The government see this as a danger to the country. So what happened is they have enacted a new law. So whoever committed the same fault here, can they be sued here? Yeah, because the law is already being enacted. Can the government use this law and apply them into the offender before this? Cannot, because the law cannot be applied retrospectively. Cannot be applied retrospectively. They cannot be applied prospectively. Okay. Almost time here. You are taking this particular course. Example AIA, accounting, international, whatever. Yeah, you have this course on actually. We do have in Malaysia, but it's not recognized. So you take this course, and it's not recognized in Malaysia. Example to that, and the government now go through MIA, Institute of Accountant Malaysia, Institute of Accountant, and they actually recognize this course. So anybody that pass, of course, they will be recognized in Malaysia. Then what happened to those who actually passed before? So the government then said, okay, this recognition can be applied retrospectively. For how long? Sorry, retrospectively means whoever, let's say this is 1 year before, 2 years before. Whoever that passed 1 year before the introduction date here, the qualification will still be recognized. Anything more than 1 year, sorry, not recognized because the syllabus haven't changed. So it is retrospectively recognized, but up to 1 year before. And this is what it means by retrospective. Is it okay? Apply by. So let's apply it, last one, to IAS 8, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015. Okay, this is the beginning of 2015. So I've been using 54, 54, 54. And we know our financial year will be 2018 and 2017. They show both here. So this year, I wish to change to weighted average. The reason is because it's required by the standard, or it can be because of IR. So I change lah. Yes, allow. The profit made was 10 using 54. So the retained earning, the profit made is 10. So the retained earning is 10. No dividend declared, 12. So the retained earning is 22. The profit made is 830. And when now here we want to change to weighted average, and yes, allow. So what must we do? The standard says we have to apply them retrospectively. Understand? So retrospectively up to where? As far back as possible. Yeah. Yeah, how can you calculate back 20 years? Cannot, right? So as far back as possible. As far back as the information allowed. So if I had used weighted average, my profit would have been lower by 2. So my retained earning would have been lower by 2. If I had used weighted average, my profit would have been lower by 3, 9. So what is the total effect? 5. So 8 plus this one, 17, or you minus, you have 17. If I apply them retrospectively, the profit would have been 1. So my profit recorded should be 7. So 5 plus 1, 6. 17 plus this, 24. This year, my profit is 5, therefore 35. This one no issue current year because it's already a typo. Weighted average. So can you see here, our financial statement falls from here to here? 30 plus 5. Assuming you have to go back, go and check. Yeah. 24 plus 5. No adjustment. This one is already at WAC, no need to do anything. Okay, no? And our financial statement is from here to here, correct? Because we are now in 218, we have comparative figure 217. So, do you call all your shareholders? Hey, can you please return back all your financial statement for 15, 16, 17? I want to do something like that. No need lah. No point, all right. So what we have to do is we only adjust it in this year. But this year we have last year's figure. So we also have to show in last year's figure. So what must we do is we have to look at our comparative figure. Opening balance, it started off with 22. We have to adjust the 5. How to get the 5? The cumulative effect. 2 plus 3. So this would have been my profit. Okay, as my opening. And if you look at last year financial statement, my profit shown 8. That's why I'm telling you now, it should be 7. Therefore, the net effect 5 plus 1, the total effect of the changes is 6. So the reported profit should be, retained earnings should be 24. And this one will be current year. So now by applying them retrospectively, everything will be at weighted average, weighted average, weighted average. This will help to improve comparability. Understand? So we have to look at the total effect. Okay? Done. So last one, sorry. Yeah, retrospectively, we look at the cumulative effect over the last few years add up, adjust where? Adjust in last year's opening. Adjust comparative figure means 2017, amend the opening, and IAS 8 recommend this. What if you have no information regarding last year, last year, no more information? We have to use the prospective. Because it's not practical to use retro, we use prospective. Okay, so we still got two more, which is change in accounting estimate and errors. Okay, next class.